Hello YouTube, this is Dbtgamer Show, episode 185, Castlevania Darkness Review, part 2. Now if you haven't watched part 1 yet, please go back and watch it. I've covered quite a lot of stuff in the first part of this review. I've talked about story, graphics, controls, music, gameplay, and some of the good stuff about this game. Quite recently, YouTube, I got the ability to make longer videos, but I thought I should cut this review up because part 1 was quite long, so I thought I'll chop it up so that people don't have to watch the whole thing in one go, because not everybody has all that time, so I always cut the longer reviews up. Anyway, now I've said that, back to the review. In the last part, I just finished off talking about the day and night cycles. Now I'm going to talk about another very important thing in this game, which is money. Throughout the game, once you get inside the castle, or some of the later stages of the game, you will find a small scroll wrapped in a red ribbon. And if you pick this scroll up with the right C button, you can contact the merchant, and you can purchase stuff that you will need. But be warned, the merchant holds a very dark secret. If you spend, I think it's over 30,000 gold on the merchant, he will come back as a boss towards the end of the game and try and kill you. So, the merchant can be a bit of an asshole sometimes. Throughout the game, you can collect money. Depending on what colour the money is that you find in the bag, you will get different amounts. Anyway, let's head across this bridge. Throughout the game, you also find lots and lots of different items. I'm just going to talk about each one in turn here, because most of them are quite important, and I feel I should because it's relevant to the review. Okay, the first items you'll come across are the jewels. There are 3 types of jewels in the game. You've got the small jewel, which gives you 5 jewels so you can use your sub-weapons and your wolf power if you're playing as Cornell. You've got the large jewel, which gives you 10 jewels each time you pick it up. These jewels you will find most of the time in barrels or boxes, just brick objects. Then you got the white jewel, which is important for saving. To save, you will need a memory card, just to let you know. Next we'll go on to healing items. Throughout the game there are 3 different healing items to heal your health with. You've got the roast chicken, which heals your health bar by 50%. You can also purchase these on the merchant. You've got the roast beef, which does the exact same thing, but for 80% of your health, and it's a lot more expensive on the merchant. And you've also got the healing kit. The healing kit is a very rare healing item, which is very rarely found. I very rarely find this thing in the game, and what does it do, you may ask? Well, it heals your health bar fully. So let's say if you're down to like 10%, you probably want to use one of these things. Also, if you have a status effect like vamp or poison, which I will talk about more later, it'll also heal the status effect as well as your energy problem as well. Also, and that's it for the food items. The cure ampoule heals you of poison. This can be also purchased from the merchant. The purifying heals you from curse, which can be purchased from the merchant as well. I've already talked about the sun and moon cards. These can also be purchased from the merchant. And the power up is this little silver potion, which cannot be purchased from the merchant, but it levels up your attacks, and it makes you do more damage with your attacks. And that's it for all the items in the game, YouTube. Throughout the game, there are several bosses. I'll just talk about a few of these, because some of them are quite difficult. One of the most difficult bosses is the final form of Dracula that you fight when you're playing as Carrie or Reinhardt. This boss is very difficult because, well, it turns into this dragon centipede thing that launches nuclear fireballs at you, and if Carrie gets hit by one of these, she goes down faster than a guy jumping off a building. In other words, this guy's annoying. And a dragon combined with centipedes, in some ways it sounds kind of silly, so this game does have a sense of humour, but it's kind of a fucked up sense of humour sometimes. Piss off. Let me loot your stuff. Some of the bosses in this game can be difficult, some of them can be easy. I've already shown off 2 bosses in the review so far. I've shown off the skeleton and the water dragon. Depending on which character you play as, you may face different bosses. Not every character will fight every boss. It just depends which character you're playing as and which level you get to go to. Now I think we're talking about bosses. We're going to talk about endings. Throughout the game there are several different endings. If you're playing as Cornell, there's only one ending. You just beat the game and save your girlfriend. That's pretty much it. If you're playing as Reinhardt, though, there are 2 endings. Depending on which form of Dracula you kill, and also depending on how long it takes you to beat the game, because the game does save your time progress with its with that little in-game clock in the left-hand corner. You'll get a different. It'll change which ending you get, and if you take too long, you won't be able to fight the final form of Dracula in that story, and you won't be able to get the best ending. If you're playing as Carrie, Carrie also has 2 endings. Her endings also vary on time. It works exactly the same way as Reinhardt. So that makes 5 endings so far. Now, Henry has quite a lot of endings. He has a different ending depending on how many children you rescue on his side game. So Henry has a lot of endings. I enjoy the multiple endings aspect because it puts pressure on the player to actually do the game right. I'm going to make my way across these platforms. I go to my next topic. Throughout the game, there is some puzzle solving to do. This is one of the more easy puzzles in the game. All you got to do is pull these levers and just run like hell and jump and make your way across the platforms that come out of the ground. It's not a very difficult puzzle. But throughout the game, there are more difficult puzzles. Some of these puzzles may involve writing down stuff on the game. One more, YouTube. Okay, I'm back, YouTube. I decided to off-screen that puzzle because get on my nerves, and I just wanted to focus myself so I could get across that puzzle and hopefully continue the review. Now that I've finished talking about endings, I'm going to talk about the stages. Throughout the game, there are several different stages which you will run into. Some of the stages are quite annoying and quite deadly. One stage which is very deadly, I will talk about in a moment, and in some ways, it's basically Kill Crazy's Playhouse. Okay, the first stage which most characters will start in is the Foggy Lake. The Foggy Lake is a pretty easy stage. It's very short. That was the stage I showed you at the beginning of the review. That was the one with the water dragon in. The Voice of Silence is a pretty short stage. This is the stage I'm on now. The only problem I have with it, it's kind of boring because there's very little music. The Castle Wall, this is quite a more cryptic stage because you have to go up different towers in order to get through the stage. And depending on which character you play as, sometimes you may have to go up the towers in a different order, or you might have to use the day and night mechanic and go up different towers at different times. It's a little bit irritating sometimes. The outer wall can be a little bit of an annoying stage because it's one of those stages where you have to be very careful when you're jumping. If you jump too far, you can either hurt yourself or just die completely. The villa is probably one of the most annoying stages in the game because, well, this is probably the stage that is responsible for most of the major problems in this game. This stage is filled with time puzzles, and you've got to be in certain places at the right time in order to progress. Also, this stage is also features a somewhat hidden character that was meant to be a playable character, but wasn't a playable character due to not enough cartridge space. I'll talk about the missing character briefly here. Basically, in Castlevania Legacy of Darkness and Castlevania 64, when this game was on the disc drive, they planned to have a new character in called the Controller. The Controller basically looked like a Frankenstein monster who had a chainsaw in one arm and a shotgun in the other arm. And eventually, when the game was developed for the cartridge, Konami took the character out and reused the character's model as a boss. And when you're running through the village stage and you make your way to the garden, you'll come across a Frankenstein monster with a chainsaw. And if you look at his chainsaw very carefully and find some artwork of the controller online, you will notice that the chainsaw artwork on the controller's chainsaw is very similar to the boss's. So most fans of the game believe that the controller was changed into the gardener boss. The next stage I want to talk about is the tunnel. The tunnel is quite an annoying stage because it's a very dark stage, and it's one of those sort of stages where you have to run around and get lost. The underground waterway. This is quite an annoying stage because it's filled with platforms. When you jump on them, they sort of fall if you're on them too long. Also, this is kind of a major problem because if you like to use the grab jump all the time like I do, sometimes you'll grab onto a leg, as soon as you pull yourself up, you'll fall through midair. Which is always fun. The Tower of Art. One of my least favourite stages. This is one of those stages that relies on a lot of time puzzles. You have to be in a certain place at the right time to open doors. The Tower of Ruins. This is quite a difficult stage because falling platforms and all that sort of annoying shit. The Castle Centre. This stage is hell. I hate this stage. If I ever do an LP of this game, I am not going to enjoy doing that. The Castle Centre, it's basically a giant puzzle. You have to collect an item called the Mandragora, and you have to collect an item called, I think it's gunpowder or some sort of explosive. You have to combine the two items together and blow up walls. And finding the items is difficult, but also if you have both items on you at once, like if you jump or run too fast or get hit by enemies, you'll basically self-destruct. It's very annoying. It reminds me quite a lot of in Resident Evil for the GameCube, where you have to get the fuel capture and refuel the laboratory. It's just very annoying, very time-consuming, and just very irritating. And you want to get over as fast as possible, but you can't get it over because you have to walk slowly. Okay, David, it's gone now. You don't talk about it anymore. Okay, I'm back. The next stage I kind of like. It's called the Tower of Science. It's a very good stage. It's one of my more favourite stages because it's a very robotic sort of stage, and the boss at the end is this giant crystal which shoots lightning bolts. It's pretty easy. It's one of my more favourite stages because it's a pretty easy stage. The Dual Tower. The Dual Tower is an absolute pain in the arse. It's got quite a lot of lava in it and some pitfalls. And your problem is the stage is quite long, and as you go higher and higher in the stage, you may have to fight several monsters, and sometimes you can get mobbed by some of the stronger ones. And now on to the stage I like to call Kill Crazy's Playhouse, but most people call this the Tower of Execution. The Tower of Execution is basically hell on earth times 1,000. It's... oh boy. I would show you this, but it would take me a very long time. It's a very, very difficult stage. And basically everything in the stage wants to kill you. There are knives coming up from the floor, there's flamethrowers, there's lava everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. This is probably Satan's summer home, where he wants to take a bath in the lava and go for his lava wax and whatever. Just believe you me, YouTube. When you get to the stage, prepare to get barbecued in every way possible, and also prepare to get killed in pretty much every way possible. The next stage I want to talk about YouTube is a very short one. It's called the Rumour Clocks. The Rumour Clocks is a very short stage. All you do in this stage is fight a boss, and then you're on to another stage which I kind of describe as hell, known as the Clock Tower. The Clock Tower is hell for several reasons. Reason number one, the camera in this game does not cooperate in the Clock Tower. Yes, Konami has fixed the camera in most of the stages, but in the Clock Tower the camera doesn't always cooperate, and it can make the platforming in this stage very difficult. Reason number two why this stage is so hard, well, the platforming is very difficult, and the stage is filled with rotating platforms, and it's very difficult to get right, and just very irritating. And the third and final complete out of this stage is very long, and there aren't that many save crystals, so you've got to go a very long time without having to save, so you can go back to where you started from. It's just a very annoying stage. And the final stage of the game is the Castle Keep. This is where you fight Dracula. It's very short, and it's not too difficult apart from Dracula himself. All in all, I like the stages, but some of them can be really, really difficult. Cornell goes through 15 stages. Reinhardt goes through 11, Carrie goes through 11, and Henry goes through very few stages. Basically, the way Henry's game works is, in one stage you find a special coffin, and depending on what time you step into the coffin, you get transported to a different stage. So Henry doesn't really get to go through many stages because his game's very short, and he can just teleport to most of them. But all in all, I thought most of the stages were good. Right. Just give me a moment, YouTube, I'll show off a bit more gameplay. Before I go to some more gameplay, I'll talk about the pause menu, I suppose. In the pause menu, you can also select your items and heal yourself and stuff like that. There's also a missing status effect from the game. In the original beta version of this game, there was meant to be a status effect where you would get turned to stone, but the status effect was removed due to limited cartridge space, I suppose. There's also a removed boss from this game, which looked like a demon sort of girl sort of character which the controller was supposed to fight, but the boss was removed because, well, the character wasn't there, so it kind of made sense. Right, YouTube, I'm just going to show you a screenshot from my laptop. I don't know if you can see this properly, but that is what the secret character known as the controller would look like if he was a playable character. Right, there you go. Right, YouTube, now that I've shown you the screenshot of the controller, I'm going to go back to the review. There was also one more beta element which was left out of the game, which I can't really understand why they left it out, but I'm pretty sure it's due to, again, no more cartridge space. And the beta element that was left out, which you can find if you hack the cartridge to hell with some Game Shark codes. The beta element I'm talking about is the wall hook. Basically, the wall hook was to be used by Reinhardt Belmont, and you use this hook to get across platforms. It'd be a unique mechanic to the Belmont, and only the Belmont could do it, and you can get to secret areas by using this technique. Personally, I think this would be a pretty good idea, because in some ways the Belmont characters in Castlevania games aren't that agile, and I think having the hook mechanic would have made him a lot more agile and a little bit more interesting and a little bit easier and better to play as, in my opinion. Right, you two, I'm going to get to the end of this stage, and then I'm going to go to my complaints. So, I'll show some more gameplay, and I'll talk about a few other things. A few months back, YouTube, when I was looking for this game on the internet, it was rather expensive, which was really annoying, because I wanted to play this game quite a lot. I also wanted to do a review of it, because a lot of people say it's good, a lot of people say it's bad, and I just wanted to see what it was like. Eventually, I did manage to find a copy of the game. I came across a games collector whilst I was in town, and we talked, and we bargained a little bit with each other, and we eventually decided if I gave him 10 quid, he would get me a copy of the game. So I waited a week, I went back to the shop a week later, and he came and he got me the game, which I was very pleased about, because this wasn't such a bad gamble, because the game itself, I think it's pretty good. It's not as terrible as some of the fans make out. Castlevania 64, on the other hand, yes, I think that game is quite terrible due to all the camera glitches, but this version of the game, I do see what the fans mean. I think it is definitely an improved version. And I'm quite glad that Konami went back to the drawing board and tried to make this game twice and did the best to make this game the best way they could. Eat lightning axe! Yeah! Not so tough when I can summon lightning! How are you now? Electrocution to the face! With the pain and the and stuff. One major tip for this game, YouTube, I can offer is don't move too fast. One of the best ways to get through this game, YouTube, is to go slowly, and that's one thing that's kind of easy to forget when you're in a hurry, you got enemies chasing you, but most of the time the best way to play this game is to just take it slow. You can also skip cutscenes by pressing the start button. Anyway, YouTube, since I died there, that's all the footage I'm going to show you. I've shown off 2 bosses and 2 of the stages. Anyway, YouTube, now to my complaints. Okay, now my complaints about Castlevania Next Day Darkness. Well, I do have a few complaints, YouTube. Complaint number 1. The camera in the game can be a little bit dodgy. This can be very irritating in the clock tower stage especially. Complaint number 2. The targeting system in this game is a little bit dodgy at times, and it's not as nice or as easy to use as the one in, say, Zelda. But you can sort of adjust to the game's camera if you practice a lot. My third complaint with the game is you can't turn off the super move known as Wolf Power. This is very irritating because you can only hold 99 crystals, and the Wolf Power does drain your crystals quite fast, and therefore you will run out, and this can be kind of annoying. My fourth complaint is jumping can be a little bit problematic and a little bit difficult to get used to. Most of the time you will find yourself using the grab jump because this is the best jump in the game and it will most of the time save your life. And that's pretty much it as far as complaints concerned, YouTube. I do have a fifth complaint, but in some ways this complaint is a niggle, or a complaint that's not really worth mentioning, but I'll say it anyway. My final complaint is, why on earth does this game need a memory card? The game itself, it isn't really that long. You can beat it in probably less than 10 hours, playing as all 3 characters, and I don't see why the game requires a memory card. Because games like Banjo-Tooie, which take about 2 hours to beat, they don't require memory cards, and they just have plain old flash saves. Maybe Konami was trying to save money on the cartridge, but I just could never understand why this game needed a memory card. It was kind of annoying when I had to track one down, especially because the things require batteries. Anyway, let's rate Castlevania Legacy of Darkness for Nintendo 64. I give Castlevania Legacy of Darkness for the Nintendo 64 a 3 out of 5. It's a pretty good Castlevania game. Now, is it worth buying and is it worth playing? Well, if you're a Castlevania fan, I would say yes. But it is a Castlevania game that requires perseverance and patience. But other than that, it's a good game and it gets a 3 out of 5. My next review will be Dead Space Extraction on the Nintendo Wii and on the PlayStation Network. But until then, YouTube, bye!